Hello, how are you today? We are so glad you're here. Hi, I'm Patricia Durgan, and this is Marketers on a Mission. We present marketing tutorials and interviews by and for Christian writers, speakers, and artists. This is episode number 184, the Mount Hermon Christian Writers Conference with Director Kathy Ide. Hello, Kathy, how are you?
Hi, Patricia. I'm great. How are you?
I'm so good. I'm so good. And you may have the most special lead-in of all of the conference directors. Through no one else's fault, but your conference that has been so steadfast through the years is experiencing its 50th anniversary next April. That's pretty cool, Kathy.
That's very cool. I'm really looking forward to it.
It must be really, really fun to be at the helm at such an exciting time.
It is. I just took on the position about 2.5 years ago, so I'm just kind of getting into the groove of what I'm supposed to be doing. And here we've got this momentous event, so I'm just couldn't be more excited.
When did you first attend Mount Hermon?
Oh, probably 2004, I think. And I went almost every year since then.
Mm-hmm. Almost every year.
Yeah.
To me, it's like the granddaddy or one of the granddaddies.
It is.
In the Christian writing world.
It definitely is. I don't think there's any other Christian writers conferences that have been going on for as long as we have. Every year for 50 years. I think it was kind of one of the first and certainly one of the biggest.
Mm-hmm. And what an impact.
Oh, tremendous. Steve Lobby, literary agent, was just mentioning at our last writers conference in a faculty meeting, he said he was looking through one of the big publishers' catalogs and looking at all the books that were in that catalog. And he says, Mount Hermon, Mount Hermon, Mount Hermon, Mount Hermon. Almost everyone in that catalog had been to Mount Hermon at some point in their writing journey.
That's pretty cool, pretty cool. So let's talk about you. You have like 50 different things that you do as well. Very strong on writing and editing. Will you explain that to us?
Well, I have been writing for quite some time. My writing has kind of taken a little bit of a backseat with all the other things going on. I've been writing, though, for publication since the late 80s, shortly after I attended my first writers conference. And I've been a freelance editor for about 20 years. So just been in the writing and publishing industry for a long time and feel super blessed to be able to do that.
You're also the director of two different, the one we're talking about today, Mount Hermon, the conference. Yes. And then you created one on your own and built it up. It just began, the SoCal conference. And that's in the summer.
Yeah, that's in June. That's June 20 to 22 this year, or next year, 2019. Mm-hmm. That'll be our third year. So yeah, it's a brand new conference, but I'm bringing a lot of the contacts that I've made in the industry over the years. I'm bringing them in and just bringing in some new things. We'll be focusing on screenwriting since we're near Hollywood. We have a come for the conference, stay for the fun motto. Since we're in Southern California, you might as well go to Disneyland and the beach and all that after the conference or maybe before. Bring your family, that kind of thing. So, very different vibe from the Mount Hermon conference.
That's a good marketing, isn't it?
It is. It is. It's a great place. It's June. We put it in June so people could come on their summer vacation. Bring your family, let them go to the beach while you go to the conference, and then, enjoy some of the SoCal things together as well.
So let's, pardon me, let's talk just really quickly about just the nuts and bolts of the Mount Hermon Christian Writers Conference. That is the name of the conference. The dates are April the 10th through the 16th.
10 to 12 is our pre-conference dates. We have just some mentoring clinics that we do in those early, it's from Wednesday noon till Friday noon. Mm-hmm. And we do some pre-conference stuff. So the main conference is April 12 to 16, which is Friday lunch through Tuesday breakfast. Mm-hmm. And so the pre-conference is just to kind of get ready for the conference, give you a little quieter time. It's a smaller group. And we have just small group mentoring sessions in fiction, nonfiction, how to do a website, how to do a proposal, and humor. Those are our pre-conference offerings. And you just meet in a small group, 8 people with a mentor for those 2 days before the conference begins.
And it's powerful faculty members across the board, and particularly here, you can come in, and now you have to belong to the conference. You have to have paid for the conference in order to have access to the pre-conference. Is that right?
Yes. Okay. Well, you can do just the pre-conference if you want. So if you find that the main conference is a little pricey for you and you just want to get in on those mentoring, you can do the pre-conference mentoring separately. Okay. Most people do both.
Okay. That's a really important distinction, because a lot of times you have to attend both if you're doing the one beforehand. Okay.
Nope, not required.
Great to know. The location is Santa Cruz, California. The nearest airport is San Jose Mineta. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You've got people, I bet you've got people from all over the world, not just regional and not just national, do you?
Oh, absolutely, yes. More so in Mount Hermon, I think, than most conferences I go to. A lot of them are very regional, but we've been around for such a long time, and we bring in such top-level faculty and offer so many amazing programs that we bring people in from all over the world.
It must be really exciting and just another depth, richness to be near so many different people who are speaking different languages, and yet the Holy Spirit and the passion for writing and speaking is still the same. It's just the same.
Absolutely. The Holy Spirit speaks the same language.
Thank you, Father. Thank you. Now, do you do walk-ins or do you sell out long before walk-ins come into the picture?
Typically, we are able to do walk-ins, but this year, because of it being the 50th, we are anticipating a much higher response this year. As a matter of fact, we already to date have about 3 times the registrations that we had last year this time. Mm-hmm. So we are expecting to sell out. We have a certain number of cabins, a certain number of availability, even in the dining hall. So we may this year, for the first time, get to a point where we have to say no to walk-ins. I'm hoping we don't have to say no to anyone. Yeah. But if you really want to come, it's really best to register early, so that just in case we get to that point for our 50th.
And it's just, if you can financially, if the Lord blesses and you can make those arrangements, it's really wise for any conference to register early, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And most conferences have early bird specials. Mm-hmm. Even Mount Hermon, we have $75 off the regular price if you register before February 1st. Mm-hmm. So, you can get in on early bird prices. Sometimes conferences will have other specials during the year. That's the only one that we have as far as a discount. So it's good to get in early, get in early and save a little bit of money on that.
Okay. Viewers, like I always do, I'll have the links that we're talking about, the conference link, the direct registration page, and so forth, as well as Kathy's information, so that you're welcome to write down anything we say, but don't feel that you have to, because I will have all those resources listed immediately, post them immediately after this episode. So let's talk about the cost. Is somewhere between a little over $800 up to $1,400 range. Is that right? Not counting the additional things.
Right, and the pre-conference is an additional cost. There are a few other things that are additional cost, but the majority of the range in the pricing has to do with housing. Mm-hmm. We have some dorms that are up kind of a steep hill, so those are our cheapest. Bathroom down the hall, that kind of thing. So mostly it's our teens who, are college students who will pick that. But if you want the cheapest, that's the cheapest. We have cabins, we have hotel type rooms that we call our lodges. So we have a variety of options. You can get economy, which is maybe a little bit smaller room, maybe multiple people to a bathroom. Mm-hmm. Or we have then you get up to, standard and then deluxe. So depending on your accommodations, as well as how many people in the cabin or in the room. If it's a 2 queen size bed room, and you can share it with someone. And if you know someone who's coming and you want to share a room, you can specify who you want a room with. If you want to be in a cabin, for instance, and it holds 8 people, you may get to know 7 other people very well that week. But our registration people very prayerfully and carefully match people in rooms and cabins. So if you don't know anyone else who's coming who can share your room, you can trust that the Holy Spirit is going to work through registration and match you with just the person God wants you to be with at the conference.
Yeah, absolutely. I so agree. I've made lots of good friends who were total strangers.
Me too.
And I'm a little bit hesitant, but then you just get in there and he just makes it work.
He does. He does.
Let's see now. So we already talked about the discount if people register before February the 1st. Then we were talking about a little bit more about the pre-conference clinic. It's by appointment only. So we talk about this consistently, viewers, through these conference directors weeks. We have to, as potential attendees, we have to pay attention early, much earlier, months before the conference actually starts. And that's one of the things that people who are new to the conference idea aren't aware of. And that's why we're giving you this information well ahead of the conference, so you're not going to miss anything. It's possible to go in as a walk-in, but it's also possible to go ahead of time if you just knew that you needed to. So the pre-conference mentoring clinics, they require an application. So there are qualifications to participate in that. And as you said, there's a small group. 2 of them are only 6 people, and a couple of them have 12 participants. Is the application, which is the deadline for that is March the 20th. Is that really a scary process?
Oh, not at all. Not at all. We ask for the application for pre-conference especially because we want to make sure that this is a good fit for you. It's for the fiction and nonfiction, you have to have written something that can be critiqued. If you don't have something written, then that's probably not a good fit for you. And you need to be open to be able to be critiqued. But it really is just a question of what are you writing? How far are you in it? Just so that we get a feel for where would be a good fit for you. And as for, the website pre-conference, as well as the book proposal and the humor writing conference, those are a little more open as far as, if you don't already have a website, we can kind of show you how to start one. If you don't have a proposal, at least you need to have enough of the book written to know what to put in the proposal. So it's really just a question of us being able to gauge where you're at in the writing journey and whether this would be a good fit for you.
Mm-hmm. I appreciate the fact that you're saying it that way, because the enemy's telling us you're trying to keep us out. And you're saying you want to take care of us and make sure that we're not wasting our time or our money.
Absolutely. And because there are limits to the number of people, then it's by order of when you applied. So the earlier you apply, the better your chances of getting into one of these pre-conference clinics.
Wow. That is a really important point, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay.
We are sometimes able to add, if we get a lot of people requesting one of the particular pre-conference clinics, we do have some backup instructors who could come in and we may add another clinic, but that's a maybe, depending on the availability of the instructors.
So let's see what I've got. And you mentioned this earlier, but the pre-conference mentoring clinics start Wednesday about 6 p.m. and get over about Friday about 1 p.m. And Friday, that just merges right into the main conference, right?
Absolutely, because the main conference starts right there Friday at lunch.
Tim Shoemaker is a favorite of ours. He's nigh perfect. And we know Tim, Laura Christensen. Yes. And of course, Janet McHenry, she belongs to us. We claim her.
All right. Well, we'll borrow her for the Mount Hermon conference.
Okay. We expect full return.
Absolutely. Better than before, even.
I can imagine that, yeah. So now the lodging is right there on campus, right?
Yes, and that's one of our limitations as far as selling out would be availability of lodging. So if you live in the area and you don't need the lodging, you can commute real close, then that might work for you, rather than we do have a cost for the conference without lodging. A little less expensive if you're able to stay on your own. But we've found that some of the best things that happen at the conference happen that early morning and late night, especially the late night for those night owls. A lot of serendipitous things happen during those evenings. So if you can stay on campus, it just enhances the experience.
I have never heard about this. You also have a campership program. Tell me about this crazy program. It sounds so fun.
Well, the campership is a program that's run by Mount Hermon in general, not just the Writers' Conference. Okay. And the Mount Hermon organization has people who donate funds on a regular basis toward a campership, so that anyone who wants to go to any of the Mount Hermon camps or retreats will have an opportunity to get a portion of the costs off through these donations. And the Writers Conference specifically, every year we ask our attendees if they're able to donate toward the campership specifically for Writers Conference. So we do have funds available, and the information is on the website. Again, not a difficult process to apply. You just, let us know why you need to come, why you need a campership, and we will prayerfully consider what percentage off we are able to give. And because of generous donations, we do have a good campership fund. So if you really need assistance, financial assistance coming to the conference, we don't want that to stop you from being able to attend.
I love that attitude. I just love it. And this has nothing to do with staying in a camper.
No. It's just that Mount Hermon's programs are considered camp because we're considered the Mount Hermon campership.
Okay. Good clarification. Okay, that helped me. So let's also talk about the deposits. They're non-refundable and non-transferable.
Right.
And the balance is due. This is every conference director and their team, their board of advisors and so forth, make their own protocol. They set their own parameters. And for Mount Hermon, the balance is due 1 full month before the conference even starts. Did I say that right? The balance is due 1 full month before the conference starts.
Right. Because there's so much that goes into the conference, so many things that we need to do during that last month, putting the programs together, ordering bags for everybody, just making sure that we have everything, that we're able to have everything ordered and ready when you arrive. So we don't run out of bags, we don't run out of programs, that we have enough for everybody.
About how many people generally, you already told me earlier that you're expecting just 3 times what you have already registered at this point typically, but on a normal year, about how many people attend?
On a normal year, give or take 300. During the recession years, we kind of dipped into the 200s. During our best years, we were in the 400s. So, I will not be surprised if we get into the 500s next year at least.
Oh, hey, we have some comments and questions. I refreshed my page and I found people. Excuse me. Linda Gilden says, such a great subject. So appreciative of you helping get the word out about conferences.
Hey, Linda.
She was yesterday, and what a great guest she was. Sharon Tedford says, excited to hear about all this. Sharon is very much into furthering her education. She's accomplished already, and she's a recording artist, a writer, speaker, fill in the blank. And she's consistently looking for new opportunities to refine her skills even further.
Excellent.
Dawn Kinzer. Hello, Dawn.
Hey, Dawn.
Janelle Wood says, eek, so excited for this interview. I'm praying and dreaming about going to Mount Hermon this year. Thanks for being here to share, Kathy.
Well, that's a good segue into something I want to make sure and cover is we just a couple of years ago started something new that we're still doing again this year, and it is a first timers contest. If you have never been to Mount Hermon before and you would like to come, go to the registration page of the website and look for our first timers contest. We give away 10 full scholarships, including lodging, economy lodging, to the conference. So if you've never been before and you just don't think you can afford it, apply for one of those and see if you're one of the 10 that God says you need to come even though you don't have the money.
And you'll be told ahead of time. I've got that information later in my notes, but by the January, I think it is, you know if you're in the group.
Yes.
And if I remember correctly, Kathy, you can up that if you wanted to. It's economy lodging, and if you wanted to, you could get a higher grade if it was available, because a lot of your lodging's already taken. Yes,
and actually the single occupancy goes first.
That makes sense.
Everybody seems to want to spend the extra to get a single occupancy, and that one we sell out on that almost every year.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about advanced submissions and what that means. And the deadline is March the 19th. Can you walk us through that, please?
We allow you to send in advance of the conference up to 10 pages of your current manuscript, whether it's devotionals or fiction, nonfiction, any poetry, anything you're writing, up to 10 pages, to up to 2 of our faculty members. If they're agents or publishing houses, you're submitting for them to review and let you know whether that's something they would be interested in acquiring. If it's to one of our freelance authors or editors, you're submitting to get their feedback and critique on your material. So you can go through our faculty page on the website. You can also go to a section of our page of our website under advanced submissions. Find out what the editorial needs of all of our agents and publishers are, so that you know which one would be good to submit to. Also find out what the specialties are of our freelance authors and editors, so you know which ones would be the best choice for you. You submit those 2 submissions in advance of the conference, and then at the conference you get those submissions back, and they will let you know whether they're interested in having a one-on-one meeting with you at the conference. They'll set up that appointment, and you'll be able to discuss. So it's basically submitting to an agent or publisher one-on-one. So you don't get in a slush pile. You get directly to that person, or to someone who can help you figure out how to improve your writing, how to make it more polished and more ready to submit to an agent or publisher, or to self-publish.
And this particular appointment is part of your conference fee.
Yes, no extra charge for this.
Janelle had something else to say. Let's say, let me get that out of the way. Janelle says she so wants to apply for the contest, but she's terrified. What's making you terrified, Janelle? What is it about the process that's making you terrified? Because you know what you're talking about. Robin Grinder says, "Hi, Kathy."
Hey, hi, Robin. Well, I know any kind of contest submission, is going to feel intimidating. Mm-hmm. But for the First Timers Contest, what I will say is a lot of people apply, but we do 2 things. The First Timers Contest is not just a question of how good is your writing. We do ask for a short writing submission so that we can kind of get a feel for, are you really ready for Mount Hermon? Or should you maybe, do a little bit more learning on your own, maybe go to a critique group, maybe there's some other things that would prepare you better for Mount Hermon. So that's really the only purpose in the writing sample. Your sample is not being judged against everybody else's sample to see which one's best. It is not a quality of writing contest. We do look at it to see whether we feel like it would be a good choice for you to come to Mount Hermon. But we also ask 5 questions, which are why have you never been? Why do you want to go? What do you expect to get out of it? And, why do you need this full scholarship? Yeah. Mm-hmm. And our judges look at the answers to those questions more than they look at the writing sample. And the main thing is they pray. They pray, who God do you know needs to come to the conference this year? Mm-hmm. And this is the way you've chosen to provide for the finances. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people who apply and don't win one of the 10 scholarships find that God has provided some other way for them to pay the money to get to the conference. We have a lot of first timers every year, especially the last couple of years since we started this contest. Mm-hmm. And I think it's because people find out about the conference, they learn about it, they apply for one of the scholarships, and even if they don't get it, they're so hooked on what they could get there. And then God just provides a different way of financing what they need.
Faith is a part of our work, is an integral part of our work. And it's the same thing with the entrance to a conference, to learn more about how to refine our gifts.
Absolutely. And if this is the conference God knows you need to get to this year for whatever contacts he may have in mind for you, whatever divine appointments he has for you, he'll find a way to get you there.
Yes. It's just up to us to go to the next thing until he closes the door. Don't give up. And again, the deadline for that is March the 19th. And the faculty members have to have time to work that into their normal schedule on top of everything they're already doing. So this is not something they do at 6 o'clock at night before they meet you at 6:45.
No, most of our faculty members come in early to the conference so that they have time to review the advanced submissions. In addition to that, we just started doing digital submissions. So you can email your submission rather than mail it, and then we will email it to the faculty members so that they have time, even in advance of the conference, to look it over and be prepared for that appointment.
Okay. Let me loop back to that one more time because I wanted just a little bit more clarification.
Sure.
If you submit, then you will get that critique, or that it's a critique or a what?
Or review.
You'll get that whether you get in writing at the conference, whether you get an appointment, an invitation to have an appointment or not. That may happen, but receiving your work and having
Yes.
had it been looked at by a professional, that will definitely
Absolutely.
occur.
Absolutely. And if you submit it to an agent or publisher and it just doesn't fit their line, they will let you know. It won't just be that standard form rejection letter, nope, not interested. It will be, this, we just did something like this, or, this is good, but it needs a little help. They will give you a review of whether they want to talk to you about it or whether there's something you need to do to prepare.
And if we even had the opportunity made available to us to have a one-on-one 15-minute, 30-minute, whatever it is, conversation with someone of this caliber, we couldn't afford it probably.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And a lot of our freelance authors and editors, they charge by the hour for that service.
Yeah,
and you're getting it free at the conference. And to be able to submit one-on-one to an agent or publishing house and meet with that person face-to-face for 15 minutes, discuss your project, invaluable.
Janet's here. Hey, Janet, I've been bragging on you. Well, I have already been bragging on you.
Yep.
She says, come to my pre-conference clinic on the nonfiction book proposal and my major morning classes on nonfiction books. We're trying to get there.
It's on the
list. Let's see. Excuse me just a second. Facebook is not showing me on my desktop, but I know that Janelle had another comment. I wanted to see if I could find that. I didn't turn that down. Pardon me. She says, Janelle says, I so appreciate this info. I've had the contest questions in an email just sitting there wondering what to write. Thank you for sharing this, she says. I love this. I love talking about writing to people who already know about it and people connecting them with people who want to know about it. It's the most fun job in the whole world.
Amen.
Let's talk about the critique group. One of our dear friends, Judy Morrow, is on the critique.
Yes, I love Judy. Hi, Judy. She said she was going to be watching today.
And she's going to be a guest in a week or so. This critique group runs a little bit differently than a typical conference's, any other conference's typical critique. There's a unique factor. Will you explain that? Yes, we have a critique team that's made up of about 10 to 12 of the faculty members, authors, freelance authors and editors, who spend time in our critique room in the afternoons. So in the afternoons, when you've got workshops that you could attend, you could skip one of those workshops or go on a break to our critique team. And you can meet one-on-one on no appointments at all, just a first come, first serve. You show up, you can choose which one of them you want to meet with, or you can ask our critique team coordinator, who do you think would be a good fit for what I have written? And they will match you with that person, and you can sit and talk one-on-one with them. Any questions you have about your writing, about the industry, just sit and say, I don't know who you are, but tell me about you, because who knows what might come of it. It gives you that opportunity. You can come as many times as you want during the conference. If you decide that there's either not workshops that fit for you, which is hard to believe because we have so many to offer, but we also record all of our workshops. So if you decide, I'm going to get the recordings for those workshops because I can listen to them later, I can't talk one-on-one with someone later. Right. So you can choose to get the recording for the workshops and then go and meet one-on-one with people in our critique team as many times as you want, as often as you want, in the afternoons of the conference. That is crazy wonderful. It is amazing. So many wonderful things have come out of that critique team. This is another reason why we want to look at the faculty, look at their bios, and also be aware that the Holy Spirit you may go thinking, Billy Bob is exactly the person I need to speak to and no one else. And the Holy Spirit ends up taking you to Emma Sue. Absolutely. We have at all of our lunches and dinners, each faculty member has a table with their name on it. So you can say, okay, I've done my research. I've read the bios. I've read the editorial needs. I've read all the stuff on the website. I know who I want to see. This is the person for me. And you'll just get to lunch early and you'll make a beeline for that table and all the seats are full. And what happens,
over and over and over is that whichever table you end up sitting at is the one God wanted you at, not the one you thought you needed.
Exactly, exactly. He's the best organizer. He's just the best organizer.
Absolutely.
Judy says, here we go. Judy had a rogue, because Facebook didn't show it to me. She had an earlier comment. She says, hello, dear Kathy and Patricia. The Mount Hermon Christian Writers Conference is my home away from home. It has been more instrumental in my writing, editing career than any other factor. I thank God for this wonderful conference and in the amazing setting of the Redwoods. I think they would be just worth it just to go see the Redwoods, because that's something I've always wanted to do and never been able to, because I'm from Georgia. I can't just hop in the car one afternoon and go see the Redwoods.
And Mount Hermon is tucked into this beautiful redwood forest. If you take just a step away from the main conference area, you are in this beautiful redwood forest with streams and waterfalls. It's just amazing. And God you can hear his voice so clearly at that conference, more so than any other that I've been to. It just, I love all Christian Writers Conferences. I'm not dissing any of them, but there's something special about Mount Hermon where his voice is so clear when you just take that walk in the redwoods, and he gives you that direction you need for where do I go next in my journey.
I love it. I love it. So now we've got the advanced submissions, and that's where we submit ahead of time. We're just doing a very short review ahead of time. We get the critique or the review when we get to the conference. May or may not be invited to go further and have a one-on-one appointment. Then we have the critique group where we can, if someone's open, we can just go and sit down for 15 minutes. And if every time we go that we're free, we can go and do that very same thing based upon their availability. And those are 15-minute chats, and we can talk about absolutely anything we want to talk about. Yep. Then we have the faculty appointments. That's another round. And these are appointments, and they are made on Friday afternoon at the meet and greet. And that's when the main conference, the pre-conference is over, the main conference has just begun, and it's the meet and greet. Set the stage for us, please, Kathy.
Well, we start with Friday lunch, and immediately after lunch, we have two offerings, which is the first timers orientation. So if that's your first time, you want to go there. And we have a returners reunion where if you've been before, but you want to find out what's new this year or what we've been doing lately, you can choose that. Immediately after that, from 3 to 5, we have our faculty meet and greet, and it's a party. The Mount Hermon dining staff makes these amazing hors d'oeuvres. They make mocktails, and all the faculty members who take appointments will be in a big room, and you can get in line and make appointments for everyone that you want to make an appointment with. There's no maximum. We don't say you can only make 2 appointments. You just make whatever appointments you feel God leading you to do. And for those who are a little too intimidated by a big party, we also have some quieter rooms. We have the field outside the area where you can just kind of go and meet people and not feel quite so intimidated by the big, because a lot of writers are much more introverted, and that's kind of a difficult. So you can just kind of go out with the other introverts and, kind of mingle, or just kind of, be on the edges of the party. That's okay too. But if you want to make appointments, that's the best time to do it, because that's the first opportunity that people at the conference have to make appointments. And we'll have all of the faculty there for you to make appointments with. If you don't get all of the appointments that you want there at the meet and greet, or it's just a little too intimidating for you, you can, like I say, we have tables at lunch and dinner for all of the faculty members. You can sit at someone's table and say, I wasn't able to get an appointment with you at the meet and greet. Do you still have slots available? And make an appointment that way.
And this is not to be taken lightly, because arrangements have been made, connections have been made at the lunch table when you couldn't get an appointment for your life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so you have an opportunity to speak one-on-one at every lunch and every dinner with a different faculty member, one-on-one pitch, give your little 30-second elevator pitch. And if the faculty member seems interested, you can kind of continue that pitch a little bit. But don't take up all the time, because there's 7 other people at your table. Yes. But it gives you that opportunity to just at least get started with that conversation. And a lot of times a faculty member will say, if it's an agent or publisher, I love that idea, send me a proposal. Boom, you get a business card. And in that 5 minutes, you've made a huge step in your career. Or they may say, you know what, that's not right for me, but here's who I think you should talk to, this other agent or publisher at the conference. You make subsequent connections from the connections that you make directly.
And if you're invited to submit, what should you do? Submit.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Now get it edited first, but yes, submit. And many, many times, an agent or publisher will ask for a submission at the conference. They won't ask if they don't really want it. They're not just being polite. If they ask you, it means they are willing to spend their time reviewing your proposal. And then you can submit your proposal with requested material in the subject line, which means you're not in that slush pile of everybody else who submits. You are in the elite. You put Mount Hermon requested material, and you will be near the top of the stack of what they look at when they get back from the conference.
And your soul will be soaring.
Oh, yes.
Janet has another comment, but before I get to that, I want to follow up this. Now, these are also 15-minute appointments.
Yes.
And they are also part of the conference fee?
Yes, no extra charge for that either.
Okay, great. All right, thanks very much. Let's see what, excuse me. Let's see, Janet, I lost Janet. Let me get back to her. She was saying that Mount Hermon, let's see if I can find that. Thank you, Lord. I made contacts for my agent and first publisher at Mount Hermon.
Yep.
A writer's conference is definitely worth the investment. Where else can you have meals with editors and agents?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Let me see if anybody's. Sometimes Facebook participates. Sometimes it doesn't. So I have two devices. I'm not being rude. Trying to be rude. Now, okay, so we go to the main conference. We're doing the workshops now. And there are two. There's one major in the afternoon. Well, there's really three. The mentoring clinics. Then we have the mentoring clinics are pre-conference.
Well, actually, we have the pre-conference mentoring clinics, but we also have main conference mentoring clinics.
Okay. That's where I was getting confused.
Yes. The pre-conference meet all during the day from Wednesday dinner through Friday lunch. They just meet consistently through that whole time. During the main conference, it's just in the mornings. So the 3 mornings that we have, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, you will meet all morning with your mentoring group. And again, we have fiction, we have nonfiction, we also have children's writing, we have one on blogging, and we have one on pastor speakers who want to be writers. So those are, again, the small groups where you meet with just 6 or 8 other people and a mentor. You submit to each other and to the mentor in advance of the conference. And then at the conference, you go over and you get feedback from the people in your mentoring group, as well as the instructor who's leading the group. So that's one option for your mornings, is to have a mentoring clinic. Those are for more intermediate to advanced writers, because the beginning writers should be going to the instructional things. And so in addition to our mentoring clinics, we have major morning tracks. And
you've got 10 of them, 10 tracks.
Yes, we have many tracks. Again, we have a fiction writing track. We have a nonfiction writing track. We have one on writing for children. We have a new one this year on screenwriting.
Yes.
Taught by a professional screenwriter from Hollywood. We have our track on the spiritual life of the writer. We also have a publishing track, publishing in the 21st century. We have a teen track. A special track just for the teens. And again, this is all in the mornings. You go Saturday, Sunday, Monday mornings. We have new last year that we're doing again this year, a career growth track. If you've been writing, you've had a little bit of publishing success, and you say, I want this to be my career. We have a career growth track that will help you figure out how to make writing a career, a lucrative career. Well, maybe not lucrative, but a career for you.
Then we that, right?
Pardon me?
Susie Flory and Laura.
Yes, Susie Flory and Laura Christensen are teaching the career. They did it last year. It was very popular and very well received. So we're bringing them back for that this year. And then we also have a professional writers track. So if you are already having a successful writing career and you want to take that to the next level, you want to come and learn from fellow professionals how to take the next step in your career, or if you just want to come to Mount Hermon and get that spiritual retreat, as well as meet with fellow professional writers and just get that feel, how do I keep going with my spiritual life when my writing is taking off? How do I keep going with my family and other responsibilities when I've got this big career all of a sudden in front of me? So we've got the 10 different morning tracks that you can choose from if you choose not to go for one of the mentoring clinics.
Okay. And Eva Marie does the spiritual, right?
Yes, I'm very much looking forward to that.
She knows how to keep the spiritual in while you've got 75 things going on. Oh, and Absolutely. Tell us just a little bit about the Jim and Randy Professional Writers Boot Camp. Is that the same reboot camp? Is that what you just mentioned?
Yes, that's the Professional Writers track. That's Randy Ingermanson and James Rubart. They are going to be wonderful. They are so excited about teaching professional writers how to just, reboot your career or keep it going once you've got it started and not stall and not get to where, okay, I've made a name for myself. Now what?
Janelle has another comment. She says, Patricia and Kathy, thank you. I often battle with feeling intimidated and overwhelmed through the writing journey. I know other writers sometimes feel the same way. Absolutely. Yep. The love of Jesus, approachability, wisdom, and kindness. Oh, thank you, Janelle. Let me start that sentence over, Kathy. The love of Jesus, the approachability, the wisdom, and the kindness you both are sharing here is such an encouragement. Thanks for the reminder to let go and let God.
Oh, wonderful. So many writers that I meet at Mount Hermon. We get a lot of first-timers, a lot of early writers, people who I don't even know if this is something I should be pursuing. And they come to Mount Hermon, you learn about the industry. You meet fellow writers who get you, your family, your friends. They don't always get this whole writing passion thing, but everyone you meet at Mount Hermon gets that. They understand that. And lifelong friendships have been made at that conference.
We are hello, Michelle. So good to see you today. Thanks for being here. We are so hungry for companionship in our world. And you could be, don't have to be, but you could be just overwhelmed with it, just saturated with it at a conference.
Well, writers tend to be kind of solitary because writing is a solitary thing, but we need to get together with other people who are fellow writers to find out what they're doing with the same challenges that you have. Again, even at the aspiring stage, how do I fit writing into my family schedule? How do I make sure that I get my writing goals accomplished when I've got to make dinner and I've got to take care of the kids and I've got, all the chauffeuring to do, all that kind of stuff. So you meet with people who can relate to the struggles that you're going through. They can share what's worked for them and you can share what's worked for you and just really be able to make that bond.
It's very symbiotic, isn't it?
Yes, it very much is. And when we have even like agents or big name publishers or multi-published authors, they're there to connect with you. Yes. They're not there to say, well, I'm on this level and you're down here. It's not that at all. Mount Hermon is just a very, as you said, accessibility is there. We want to help. A multi-published author wants to help other aspiring writers because they were helped when they were aspiring writers. Yes. That's why they come.
It's hard to believe that someone that accomplished and multiple people that are on that level would want to help me or, that's how we feel because that's what the enemy tells us.
Right.
But once you experience it, just dare. Yes. I dare you just to go and experience it. And you will change your mind about conferences.
Absolutely. It's an experience like nothing else.
The very first conference I ever went to, I traveled from here. That was in the days when I could drive by myself. I traveled from here to the Chicago area for the right to publish with Lynn Johnson. And met someone, this was 16 years ago, who lived an hour and a half from me where I was currently living. She also traveled the same amount of time, the same distance miles, and we have been best friends for all these years.
Yep. That's what a writer's conference will do. And in the evenings, we have general sessions with keynote speakers. Normally, we have one keynote speaker for 3 of the nights, and then we'll have a plenary for the 4th. But for our 50th anniversary, I wanted to bring back people who have been associated with Mount Hermon over the years. So we have a different keynote speaker each night. We have Brandolyn Collins, who has been with Mount Hermon for many, many years. We have Bill Myers, who's hysterical. Phil Calloway, also extremely funny. And Kay Marshall Strom, who has also been, all of them have been an integral part of the conference for many years. And they'll be delivering a wonderful keynote address in the evenings. Those are very powerful. After you've spent a day, filling your brain with all this information and connections and all kind of stuff, to be able to sit and have a worship time and then get an inspirational message is just, that's also life-changing.
It's icing on the cake for the day, isn't it?
It is. It very much is.
Let me say one other thing. And the afternoon workshops, we don't need to go so in depth with them, but I wanted to mention 2 particularly. One is Judy Morrow's. Marketing and promotion. Marketing as ministry. She knows a lot about that. I just received her book today. Oh, it looks so good. The other one that particularly caught my eye, and I just so appreciate, I love 2 people who suffer from chronic illness. And, Chris Morris is going to talk about how to balance writing with long-term.
Yes.
That touches
my heart. He has had that experience himself. He is speaking from personal experience and from the heart, and he is an amazing man.
That just, I can see how Michelle Bingston says, I love Mount Hermon, and Kathy Ide. You got some cheerleaders here, which I'm not surprised at. So then the Night Owls, let's run that through us, review that for us, please, really quick.
Okay. This kind of, after you're icing on the cake, you get those sprinkles on top, to use your analogy. This is for those people who aren't so overwhelmed by everything that happened during the day, and they need just one more thing after the general session. On Saturday night, we have some night owls that are a little bit more informal. They're more laid back, a lot more Q&A kind of things on unique little topics that aren't necessarily going to be a workshop. Mm-hmm. So just little opportunities. Again, you can check the website for those. On Sunday, usually we do a second night of Night Owls, but for our 50th, it's just between you and me, Patricia.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to be able to put together a faculty talent show.
Oh, how fun that would be!
So we are putting together all the faculty members and letting them loose with whatever talents they might want to show off on that talent show. So I think that's going to be a whole lot of fun. And just, again, doesn't take brain power. It's a night owl. It's after the evening session. You just go and get entertained and have a good time. And for Saturday night, to go back, one of our night owls that we do is a concert from Dave Talbot. Dave Talbot has been the director of the Mount Hermon Conference for most of the 50 years it's been around. He just retired from Mount Hermon a couple years ago, but he plays the most amazing pipe organ and piano that just is jaw-dropping. And so he plays during our Palm Sunday service, but we also have him do this special night owl concert. So if you want to hear the hymns or the more modern songs played with this amazing pipe organ by this amazing organist, that's a wonderful opportunity for one of the night owls that we'll have on Saturday.
Good to know. So we've got a few more things to talk about, but before we get to that, let's go back to the nuts and bolts. The attire you mentioned on the website just needs to be casual, business casual,
Absolutely, right? Yeah, with good walking shoes.
That's what I wanted to ask, because didn't I see that the ground is uneven? So for me, that would be an important point to know.
Yep, the ground is uneven. There's a little bit of uphill, downhill. If you have a problem with that, we do have some golf carts that will take you, if you need to get a distance. But a lot of it is uneven ground. A lot of it is uphill, downhill. So do be prepared for that. No one will expect you to wear your high-heeled shoes.
Yes.
Wear something comfortable. Wear your tennies. Just be comfortable.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And you mentioned the recordings earlier. I want to go back to that. Are they available to only the attendees, or are they also available to the public?
They are only for attendees.
Okay. Okay. And is there currently, or will there be, become active, a Facebook group that will become active during the conference? Or is that ongoing, or?
Well, we actually each year set up an attendee Facebook page. You can get on our regular Facebook page and just find out general information about the conference. But we are, I think if it's not up now, it should be in the next few days, a special attendee page. So when you sign up, you'll get an email from me letting you know the link to that, and then you link to that and you get into the attendee page. The attendee page is a great place if you're looking for somebody to commute with, if you're looking for somebody to share a ride with, if you're looking for somebody just to kind of, I need to know somebody who's going to be there. You can say what kind of things you write and then connect with the people who are going to be there who also write the same kind of things you write. So that you can kind of plan that, or say, hey, here's the track I'm planning to take. Who else is planning to take that track?
Okay.
There's a lot of that kind of stuff. Oh, and we do have shuttle service from the airport to the conference center. So if you need that, make sure and check that out on the website.
Thank you. Well. I meant to mention that, and that's an additional cost, but it's back and forth. So
yes,
one go round, and you don't have to drive. Don't drive if you don't have to.
Yes.
You've already mentioned the contest, and that's the First Timers Contest. If you're just joining us, it's the First Timers Contest. The deadline for submissions is December the 10th, right around the corner.
Yes.
Don't delay if you're interested. And the prize is, tell us the prize again.
We give away 10 full scholarships, including meals and lodging.
Makes me salivate just thinking about it. Then you have awards the last night prior to the last Tuesday's the last morning, breakfast and so forth, and then you disperse. But Monday night, you've got an awards banquet. Tell us about that place.
We do. On Monday night, we have a little bit shorter general session, and it's followed by our awards presentation. We have usually 5 or 6, sometimes 7 different awards that we present, and the winners are chosen by the faculty based on what they've seen during the week of the conference. Oh. So if they see that there's somebody who's a real pace setter, they're really out there setting the pace for writing, or a most promising new writer, or a most promising teen writer, or someone who's writing in the face of adversity. We have different writing awards, and we present those awards in the general session on Monday night as our last evening, immediately followed by our autograph party. So we have a big party, again, with live jazz music and lovely desserts. But you can take the books that you've purchased at our conference bookstore, or even books that you've brought from home. And anyone who has a book in the bookstore will autograph the books that you've purchased, not just for faculties, for anyone who brought a book. So you can go back and forth and meet the people who wrote the books you've got in your hand and get their autographs on it. Go home with a lot of autographed books.
That's cool.
It's very cool.
Okay. Judy agrees for Mr. Talbot. Yes, indeed. Love his playing. And Janet says, it's worth going to Mount Hermon just to hear Dave Talbot play the piano and organ.
Oh, he is amazing.
Last couple of questions. Optional activities is quite impressive. Will you give us the short list, and each one is outstanding?
Well, on Sunday afternoon, we do not offer workshops. We give people the opportunity on Sunday afternoon to take a break. So during a 2-hour break, the Mount Hermon organization has a canopy tour zip line where you can take a zip line through the canopy of the redwoods. It's amazing. Small price, reduced price from what they normally charge. So reduced price for Writers Conference. They also have a ropes course that you can take if you just feel like you need to get out there and do something challenging and fun. We have kayaking in the San Jose Harbor. So if you want to go, we'll take you in a van down there and we'll put you in a kayak and we'll let you do some kayaking in the afternoon. Another new thing we're doing for the 50th anniversary is we're going to have 2 prayer labyrinths. We'll have an indoor labyrinth and an outdoor labyrinth. They'll be open throughout the conference, but Sunday afternoon might be a real good time. It's right there smack in the middle of the conference for you to just kind of get alone with God and have that prayer time. Okay. You can also use that time to go in your room and take a nap, or go in your room and process what you've learned, work on a work in progress, go for a walk in the redwoods. Sunday afternoon is your free time to be able to do optional activities. If you've got a car, you can go to the nearby big redwoods forest. You can go into town, just kind of, shop in San Jose. It just gives you that little break in the middle because, with a 5-day conference, there's just so much going on. It can be overwhelming. It can be like, drinking with a Dixie cup out of a fire hydrant. Mm-hmm. So, to have that little afternoon break where you say, okay, I'm going to get away and then I'll be ready for the second half of the conference.
I appreciate that. I've been to 5-day conferences and you don't want to miss anything. So if something's going on,
yes,
you feel like you're just obligated because of the investment of time and funds
exactly.
and all the variables that you just really need to go. But past a certain point, you can only retain so much.
Yep. So we give you that break to where we don't have anything planned. You don't have to worry about missing anything, but you can have that break time to do whatever you feel God leading you to do.
I like that. And then also we've got just a few other opportunities. You mentioned the prayer labyrinth, the headshots, and or a promotional video. These are also extra cost, but so worth it. So will you run that through us and we'll be closing out?
Well, we did headshots and videos last year. I'm still working with our photographer. We may just be doing the headshots this year.
Okay.
But we do have a professional photographer that you can set up an appointment with, and they'll take indoor shots, outdoor shots. And they know how to do a professional headshot. And that headshot's so important for your social media, for your business cards, for your promotional printed stuff. So important to have a really professional headshot. And you can tell when it's a professional headshot and when it's just something you took on your phone. So, this gives you the opportunity to get that professional headshot at a very reduced price.
And once you get one, if you have never had one, once you have one, you'll see places, you'll discover places that you can use it that you would have considered before you had it.
Absolutely. And if you get to the point where you want to apply to teach as faculty at a writers' conference, they will want your professional headshot.
That's right. Woo! Woo! Oh, don't even get me started talking about faculty teaching. It has been so wonderful to hear everything that you have to say today, to meet you and see your excitement and your passion, Kathy.
Oh, thank you so much, Patricia. I really appreciate this opportunity. I love the Mount Hermon Writers Conference. I love writers' conferences. I love writers. So an opportunity to connect with writers, to connect with people who love books, who love the written word, who see the power of the written word to touch people's hearts and change lives. It's so exciting. So exciting.
It's hard to, when you just stop and think about it, it's hard to realize just little bitty letters that are strung together and change someone's eternity. It's so simple. It's so overpoweringly beautiful.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And if God has put a passion in your heart to write something, he has in mind who he wants to read that and when they're going to need to read it and what all the steps are to get from this idea in your head and this passion in your heart to the point where those words reach that person. And a writer's conference can be one of those steps toward getting the passion that God has put in your heart and getting those words out to the people who need to read it.
I so agree. Sharon Tedford says, thank you a million times. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think Janet said something or might not have. I'm not sure. Let's see. I'll give it one more go. I have to refresh each time. No, I think she just was doing an emoji. Okay, so thank you again, Kathy. We'd like for you to come back and tell us in the spring. Tell us about SoCal if you have time.
I'd love that. Yes, definitely. I'd love to do that.
So we're going to take care of you, viewers. Is there something that you need to know? I want to help you get that information, discover that leader, engage with that author, follow that speaker. We have such an important task. We're gifted for it, but there are responsibilities that come along with that gift. And part of that is to become even more educated than we are, to the degree that your schedule and all the factors that make up your life allow you to be. Okay? So no guilt whatsoever. It's all good. This has been Marketers on a Mission, episode number 184, baby.
Woo-hoo!
And the Mount Hermon Christian Writers Conference Director, Kathy Ide. Tomorrow, April Smith Carter, who is the director of the Mid-South Christian Writers Conference, she's going to join me. She said we're going to talk about her as a 2-day conference instead. It's near Memphis. Very interesting information. We want to let you know about that. We're here every single weekday at 12 Pacific, 3 Eastern, to help you, to serve you, so that you can discover what your message is and who it is that Christ has gifted you to serve, so that their lives can change and he can be glorified. And all along the way, we're blessed each step of the way, aren't we, Kathy?
Amen.
We're just the conduit sometimes, but we get the blessing. It showers up, spills up over us.
Sure does.
And we have to learn how to market online. That's anywhere from just talking about ourselves and serving our audience in social media without any sales at all the way up to selling products or programs, so that we have to get online. We have to become comfortable online, learn how to market online, because that's our mission field.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm fixing to start preaching, so I'll say goodbye instead.
I love it.
You being here. Talk to you tomorrow.
Thank you so much, Patricia.
You're very welcome, Kathy.